Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Liam Douglas here, and in today's video we're doing an unboxing review of the Meike 55mm f1.4 autofocus lens for the Fujifilm X Mount. Now, Meike has been making lenses for quite some time, but all of their previous lenses were manual focus only. This is their first foray into a fully electronic autofocus lens for APS-C camera bodies, and as I mentioned, this particular model is for the Fujifilm X Mount. I will be using it with my X-T5 to capture sample images for this video. But before we get into all the details of this lens, let's go ahead and roll the intro. Okay, so this is Meike's first autofocus lens for APS-C cameras. This, as I said a moment ago, is for the Fujifilm X Mount, and I'll be pairing it with my X-T5 to go out and do some sample images. But let's go ahead and open the box here. So inside the box, we have our top foam insert to help keep the lens safe. And then we have our lens in a bag here. And then in the side of the box, we have our registration paperwork, owner's manual, and all of that good stuff. And that is pretty much all that is in the box that the lens comes with. Now, this, of course, is a prime lens. It features 11 elements in 8 groups. And it does have both manual and autofocus. So as you can see here, there's let me take the lens cap off for you real quick. There's the autofocus manual focus switch. It does have a clicked aperture ring, so it might not be ideal for shooting video with because of the clicked aperture ring. Now, it does have 9 aperture diaphragm blades to give you a nice looking bokeh. And the rear end does have a red ring around it, which dresses it up a little bit, kind of makes it look just a little bit like a Fujifilm Red Badge lens. And if you take the rear lens cap off, you'll see that there's a micro USB port inside there for doing future firmware updates. And if we take off the front lens cap, it is a 52mm front filter thread size. So keep that in mind if you want to put filters on this. As I generally recommend, buy your filters in 82mm and then use a good quality set of step-up rings, which you can get fairly inexpensive. That will allow you to use that 82mm filter, whether it's an ND filter, circular polarizing filter, whatever the case may be. You can use it with this lens without any problems at all. So just step it down with some step up down rings and you're good to go. Now, it does have Meike written here on the side of it, and it is a 55mm, which is 82.5mm in full frame field of view. So it is a decent lens to use for portraits as well. Now, I don't know if I get a chance to shoot any portraits with the lens today, just because I don't have anybody handy to use, unless I get lucky enough I can find a couple of people in town that'll be nice enough to let me take portraits with it. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes when I get out to actually shoot with this lens today. But it is a very nice lens, very well constructed. The focus ring is very smooth. There's no looseness to it or any crunching noises or anything like that, or clicking noises. It is a very smooth, quiet autofocus ring, and it's a fairly good size ring too. As you can see here, it's a fairly thick, wide focus ring, which will make it extremely easy to grab hold of and utilize as you're out shooting. Now, Meike has been making lenses for quite a while, but as I mentioned earlier, all of their lenses in the past had been strictly manual focus lenses. And I do actually have, and I did a video, and I'll put a link in it here in the corner of this video. I did a review a little while back of their 35mm f0.95 lens for the Fujifilm X Mount. And that was a very decent lens, especially for the price point. And it's the same with this lens here. This lens is $199 US, so it's not super expensive. For those of you that are amateur or hobbyist photographers or student photographers, you don't have massive amounts of money to spend on gear, this could be a great alternative for you. Now, Fujifilm does make a 50mm f1.2 lens that is spectacular, but it's also quite pricey. So if you're looking for something close to the same focal length that won't break the bank and close to the same aperture, then maybe the Meike 55mm f1.4 is for you. Now, the aperture does go from 1.4 to f16, so you got a nice aperture range. You can stop it down, you can open it wide to get good low light performance, you can stop it down for shooting landscapes or street photography or something like that. I know people like to use these kind of lenses at this focal length for a variety of types of shooting and subjects, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You know, have fun with it. Go out and do your own thing. Don't worry about what anybody else says, does, or thinks. Just do your own thing. I recommend that all the time to photographers that are just starting out. Don't let other people dictate how you shoot, unless, of course, it's a paid client. Then it's a little bit different, but you can spell all that out in your contract with the client ahead of time. But again, this lens can be used for a wide variety of photography. You could use it, like I said, for some landscapes, maybe do some daytime long exposures of a waterfall with it from a distance. You get a little bit of a zoom in, so that would be beneficial for you. And as I said, I'm going to pair this lens with my beautiful Fujifilm X-T5, which is a awesome camera, 40 megapixel APS-C sensor. So we're going to see what kind of images we can get when we pair this lens with that camera body. All right, so as you saw from my still images, I was able to capture some gorgeous images with this lens paired with my Fujifilm X-T5. I had a lot of fun out shooting with it today. It is a beautiful lens. It's fairly compact. It's not super heavy. So it's a great lens to just carry around and capture all kinds of photography. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, use it for whatever you like. Whatever feels right to you. Don't worry about what anybody else says, does, or thinks. You shoot your style, your photography. You do what you enjoy and what makes you feel good. I love to go out and shoot all kinds of things, from landscapes to architecture to daytime long exposure, nighttime long exposure, street photography, portraits. I do a little bit of everything. And I have a lot of fun doing it. And that's exactly what you can do with this lens. You can take this bad boy out, shoot whatever you like with it, and get some great images. Now, the lens, of course, is not flawless. It's not perfect. It does have good multi-coating to it to help reduce ghosting and flaring, and to help with the colors as well as contrast. So you can get really good images with this, with good colors, good contrast, good rendering. Absolutely fantastic. Now, is it as good as the Fujifilm 50mm f1.2? Absolutely not. I never tried to claim it was. But again, if you're somebody that's on a budget, if you're a student photographer, hobbyist, amateur photographer with limited budget, and you want a decent prime lens with a wide aperture that you can use in low light and all kinds of various situations, maybe you're shooting a wedding for a family member or something like that, and this lens is going to perform extremely well. It's not going to be as great as the Fujifilm 50mm 1.2, as I mentioned a moment ago, but it will get the job done. And it is a gorgeous, compact, fairly lightweight lens that you can just have absolutely tons of fun with. All right, that's going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch it. Please remember to subscribe down below, turn on all notifications, and I will see you in the next video.